Give them about good 15 minutes. They'll get nice and brown and crispy on the edges and a little soft in the middle. The longer you leave them out, the crunchier they will be. They're delicate when they first come out, but they really get hard, but yet still a little bit chewy. And these freeze very well. You could put them in a plastic baggie, wrap them in wax paper if you wanted to, put them in the freezer, and then just pop them out when you're ready and eat them at room temperature. So, just as a recap, these are 3-ingredient sugar cookies. There is no eggs in it. Very, very simple. You have your flour, you have your butter, and you have your sugar. So your flour, which was your 2 cups of flour, and you want just a little excess, just like about a tablespoon or 2 excess. Your sugar, you want to save about 3 tablespoons of your sugar, because when you form the balls for the cookie, you just want to roll it in your sugar a little bit. And of course, your butter. 2 sticks of butter, which would be 2 cups of butter. No, it's not, which is 1 cup of butter, excuse me, which would be 2 sticks. And you're basically blending everything together. Add just a touch of vanilla, not mandatory, but it just gives it a nice, would you say gives it a nice,
kind of like almost like a caramel taste.
A caramelly taste. And then after you put the balls on your cookie sheet, put them maybe like about 2 inches apart. They do spread. They're going to look balls, but really this is what it turns out to be. And I like to sprinkle it with some jimmies or some sprinkles. Fun for the kids too. You can make them even, for Halloween, or maybe get some green and red sprinkles or blue ones for Hanukkah. It just makes a very light cookie, and this is the end result. You want to put them in the oven for, I'll say, between 10 and 14 minutes, depending upon your oven. And this also is important. Most cookies and cakes we bake at 350. This one you're going to bake at 325. Very important, just 325. It makes a difference. And so in my oven, I put them in for 14 minutes. So just check them. If they start to be flat and a little bubbly and brown at the edge, they're done. But frankly, even if you're in there for an extra minute, it's not going to cause any harm to them. Just don't go over your 14 minutes. Let them cool for a good 10 to 15. Take a spatula, put them on a plate, have a cup of coffee or a bottle of water, or actually would be better with a tall glass of milk. And they are just delicious. So that is your cookie recipe for the day, and we'll come up with something new for next week. And if you have any suggestions or a type of cookie you would like to see, or maybe even share, let us know. But I did want to take a few minutes, Lisa, to follow up on our conversation last week, where we started to talk about goals, and for you, looking at different job opportunities and goals and so forth. So tell us, how's that going?
I'm actually developing the habit of every day going online, looking, and then just applying to 1 or 2 things a day. That's what I'm doing right now. There isn't a lot out there that I'm seeing for what I want to do, but that doesn't mean it could be picking up. The summer holidays are over, so it could be that we're going to see some more.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
What are some things that you did apply for?
I applied for, one was a new employee orientation specialist, so I did apply for that. Another one was an instructional designer, and let me see, a couple other ones. Are just a variety along in the education realm, in that learning and development space. So that's where I'm primarily looking right now. And now what I'm trying to do too is broaden out. Maybe it's not exactly learning, maybe it's close to that. Maybe it's a business analyst job or something like that. So that's something that I've started to take a look at too. And right now I'm just exploring, but I'm probably going to have to take my resume and maybe depending on what I want to focus on, take my resume, change it up a little bit, really kind of, making it so they could see the transferable skills.
Okay.
So,
So what are your thoughts on, sometimes you made a comment about the time of year and so forth. Do you think there's a good time versus a not such a good time for people to start looking for jobs? What are your thoughts
I really
on that?
don't think there's a good or a bad time to look. I think some of it's just when the position becomes available, it's just, we're looking for somebody right now. So you could literally have a typically slow time as far as like jobs at postings and things like that. But you can always have somebody that retires, that, leaves for another job, whatever have you. So I think there's no good or bad time to look. I have noticed that in the past, and I don't know if this has changed or not, but it seemed like spring and fall, there seemed to be a little bit more. And, I think that could be budgets and things like that too.
Yeah, it could also be too, to that point, and first of all, I agree with you. I don't think that there is such a thing as not the right time, which I think is important for those of you that are watching this going, maybe I'll wait. Don't. It doesn't, because first of all, you don't know what that particular company is looking for, what
Right.
their season is, their needs. People are hiring based on needs. Unless you're applying for a seasonal position, there is no bad time, so to speak. And even if there is a lull, think of it this way: your resume might be sitting on someone's pile, but what's going to make it stand out so you're at the top? So when they are ready, you're the one that they call. But to make the comment about there's something to be said about the spring and the fall, because I think the mindset is, as we get closer to summer, you know what, I was going to take off anyway. Take advantage of the summertime. Maybe it's getting my kids ready to school. Maybe it's, I'm going to spend some me time down the shore, just regrouping. It's a slow, I'm going to get myself together. Then comes the fall, we start to worry, because now it's okay. I got bills to pay.
Yep.
I got the kids back to school. I need to get some income in, so it does tend to ebb and flow based on the season, but the need for companies doesn't.
Right.
Again, unless you're a seasonal, and again, I'll use my company for example. We hire all year round. I do trainings I'll say about every 5 to 8 weeks or so, and it's constant. And that's in the field. That's working in customer service. So it depends upon the field. It
Yeah.
depends upon the field, and I'll work in a place where, for the most part, it's not so much turnover rate that we're replacing. I'm fortunate enough to work at a place where there's a lot of movement. So
Yeah.
people are moving into other departments, into other positions. Well, if someone gets promoted, that person has to be replaced.
Right.
So there's a variety of reasons why people hire. You never want to assume that the only reason that there's an influx of hiring is because they must have lost a lot of people. And you know what? That's a question when we talk in the future about what questions to ask people that are interviewing us. That's a good one.
Right.
Is what is the turnover rate? Basically, why are you hiring this position, and what happened to the person that was in the position before you? These are questions that you should ask, that you want to know. It kind of gives you a sense too of the culture and how the
Right.
organization is. But I'm glad that you're moving forward and looking, and glad that there's a little that you're starting to see some things, and you're fortunate enough too, as some of our folks listening may not be, that you still have a place of
I
employment.
still have a place of
Yes.
employment.
And I don't know if this is still true or not, but there really was a time when it was more of an appeal for a company to hire someone who was already in a position versus someone who isn't. And I think there's some truth to that. When you are unemployed for a while, unintentionally, there's more of a sense of desperation.
Right.
And then depending upon what your resume looks like, how long, how many jobs you've had, I think this is a factor for some folks. If you are already in a position and looking perhaps to for whether it's a different route to take, or maybe even you're at the end of the line.
Right.
I love what I do, but there's no room for growth, and you just want to do what you're doing, but somewhere else where there's growth. There's more of a sense of, you know what, I know there's not a sense of desperation. You're looking for betterment. So there's a lot of different mindsets out there. Whatever that is, don't let it deter you from finding what's going to be best for you. We spend more time at work than we do at home, so it's important that all the pieces are a good fit, and we'll talk
Right.
more about that in the future. So as we come to the end, I hope you guys try this cookie, because Halloween is around the corner, which I can't believe it's going to be August. By the way, happy fall, everybody. It's my favorite time of the year. And I think as we get closer to Halloween, perhaps we'll do some Halloween things.
I think that would be fun.
Yes, and then as we get to the holidays, if you have a favorite cookie or maybe even a bar that's simple that you do with the kids or around the holidays, would love to hear from you, and we'll share you some of ours and our recipes. So this is our 3-ingredient sugar cookie. I may have to hold it up, which means I'll have to eat it because I touched it. So our 3-ingredient sugar cookie, and very simple to make, very easy to do on a rainy or maybe even a snowy day, which will be around the corner with the kids. Frankly, you could do it even for company. It makes a very nice light dessert with a cup of coffee or some tea. So we look forward to seeing you again next week, and we will continue these conversations, and who knows what topic we'll come up with next week. Maybe we'll come up with something totally different depending upon what's going on in the world, and certainly provide you with a new cookie recipe. Have a great week, everybody, and talk to you next time.
Talk to you next time.